Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview covering VCT America Stage 2 this time. Pre-event interviews. For this occasion, I have here with me Vanity, the IGL of Cloud9, who are coming off of a early elimination in playoffs, but are looking to bounce back and qualify for champions and everything else outside of that. Vanity, thank you so much for taking the time once again. I'm sure it's very early and very tough for you to get up at that time. But how are you doing? How are you kind of like? How are you kind of looking at your mindset prior to the start of the new season?
I'm good. I'm pretty confident in our practice. Like we've been doing really well. We've been improving on a lot of the things that we kind of were lacking in the first stage. We've been working really hard to work on our team play, and it's been improving a lot. So hopefully we can translate it to stage. But other than that, I'm pretty confident.
Yeah. What do you think has been or bouncing back from being eliminated to G2 early on in the playoffs? I mean, I'm sure you took a lot of time to reflect on what exactly happened and how the team was affected from that. So that said, looking into that first and foremost, how you kind of look back on that result against G2 and just the things that went wrong, biggest issues, and how did you kind of then adjust from that point on?
I'd say the biggest thing that G2 did well, it's kind of similar to what 100 Thieves did. Like every other team in America's kind of like fights us, and those two teams they don't really give you fights at all, and they kind of like rely on their team play. So it's kind of something we're trying to take from them is like being able to rely on um, our teamwork a lot more, and it's something we've improved at a ton in the last like month or so during the off season or the break between splits. So hopefully we're able to continue what we've been doing and have good results going forward.
Exactly what are some of the exercises or kind of things that you've been looking at or emphasizing that in order that you're doing in order to have this team be at the desired level and just having to fix all of the issues that you've been highlighting so far in this conversation.
I would say the biggest thing that we had an issue with in the past was just like giving away like rounds that were already won. Like say we're in like a 5v3, 5v2, 4v2, like any man advantage. Like we just need to make sure we're closing out 90% of those. Like obviously there's going to be rounds where they do things that are just ridiculous and they win the round, but winning the rounds that you're supposed to win is like the biggest thing that we've been emphasizing, and we've gotten a lot better at it.
Sorry about that. Um, from the end of stage one to now, what has been like the or how's the timeline been like for you? Has it been just end of season, literally go to start practicing and end the next day, or did you kind of take a little bit of a breather from that point to now, or can take a
Uh,
little bit of a breather for a little bit of time and then eventually start practicing again?
we took like a week off, I think, like 10 days maybe or something. Some Oxy and Imi went home. Oxy went back to Texas, and Imi went back to Germany. Um, or the UK. I don't remember where he went. He went somewhere in Europe. We took like 10 days off, and then we got back in practice on like the 12th or something. I don't remember. Pretty soon after. We took like 10 days off, but we've been practicing pretty hard for the last I don't know 3 or 4 weeks, and we've been improving a lot. So I'm pretty happy overall with how things have been going.
I'm sure you and a vast majority of other people within the team must have been looking at Master Shanghai and just how all the teams from your respective league have been performing against the rest of the other competition. So that said, what was your observations just of the NA Latam teams? 100 Thieves, G2, Leviathan, and how they kind of performed against the rest of the other regions in that event. What are your observations and just how that kind of compared to when you guys and the rest of the league faced them back in stage one?
I mean, it's pretty depressing that the only two teams we lost to got top four in Shanghai. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Single elimination sucks, but need to win, obviously. But I mean, we're still pretty confident in ourselves. We know that if we make it international, we can have a really good run, given like we're very competitive in our region. And I think America's is like the deepest like talent region there is currently. Um, I think if you send any of the 6 teams that made playoffs in Americas to Shanghai, they all could have had pretty strong results. Um, disappointing to say the least. But I mean, we're not too upset. Like the only two teams we lost to got top four, so could be worse.
I mean, it's a little bit of a respite, right? Just like, oh yeah, we kind of lost to the two best teams, something like that. But yeah, was going from the end of that to now. I mean, I would say that there's been a few changes to the game, and neon buffs, and everyone's been kind of talking about that and just been getting crazy about that. What's your opinion on that, and how do you think that will kind of affect the metaphor, this stage, and everything beyond that? And in addition to that, I believe Haven and Abyss is gonna be entering into the map pool pretty soon. Not sure if it's right now, but maybe sometime in the future. So, what are your opinions on those two things?
I'm really happy that Haven's back. It's like my favorite map in Valorant. Abyss, yeah, it's a map. Uh, I have no comments on it. Um, the agent changes are cool. I think that they're not as game breaking as people think in pro play. I think they're really good changes for okay. They're cool to see have changes happen in rank. It kind of makes ranked unplayable to be honest because you just have triple duelist every game. But it's fun. I'm sure it'll be a little shakeup in pro play. I don't think we're gonna see a ton of ISO in pro play unless teams go to double duelist, but I think we're gonna see a good fair amount of neon. I think that'll be fun to watch because I've always liked watching neon.
Do you think Neon is gonna be game breaking?
No, I think it'll
Okay.
be strong. I don't think neon is an agent that every player can play. I think like it's a very like unique play style in comparison to the other duelists. So I think teams that have really strong neon players, similar to like Victor on Energy, I think that team is going to use neon a lot and get value from it. But I don't think it's something you can like just plug someone into and pray they have success. I think it's like a very like weird skill set.
Then I gotta go back to Abyss because you said no comment. Do you like the map? Do you hate it?
Uh, I don't know. It looks bad. It's
In what
impossible
way?
to know if I like the map if until I play it, but it just doesn't look like a good map to be honest.
Okay, okay, okay. Um,
I would say the biggest issue is how big it is. Like uh, 17 seconds to rotate between bomb sites, and there's not really like a reason to go mid at all. It seems, at least from like looking at it, because there's not much options to split the sites through mid. So or like realistic options. So it's like gonna be a weird map, I think.
mhm. Do you feel it's gonna have like a big presence within the map pool? Should it then get slotted into pro play and everything else? Do you feel it has the potential to get that, or not as much?
I think it'll be similar to like Fracture when it got added like mid champions in 2021, where it got played a few times at champs, but not much because teams aren't gonna have time to figure out the map. So I would assume a lot of the time it's just gonna get banned, simply because I don't know if it's public when it goes into the map pool, but you don't have much time to prepare. Um, so I would assume it's not gonna be played a lot until champions, and then even in champions, I'm not sure how much it will get played.
Yeah, moving on from that and getting into the team's upcoming schedule in stage two. I mean, as you kind of mentioned a little bit, I mean, first match will be against G2, and then after that will be against Sentinels, NRG, and in crew. I mean, a quartet of just pretty difficult opponents. NRG, getting back to the old core from last year, and then crew getting off of a pretty impressive regular season, and then G2 third place in Masters, and then Sentinels. I mean, Masters Madrid winners. I mean, pretty tough schedule, I would say. But how do you kind of look at your schedule for stage two?
I don't know. It's just Valorant. Like whoever shows up, the better team that day is gonna win. That's really all it is. Like I think every team in Americas is pretty strong. Uh, so I mean, we just have to show up and do what we've been doing in practice.
Comparing the levels from this team compared to, or this team from stage one, end of stage one, and then to now, how do you kind of look at the kind of margin or difference between those? Do you feel this team right now is kind of higher before stage
I
two,
definitely
or
we're a lot
anything
better.
like that?
I think we changed a lot of things that weren't super big, and they've made us a lot better as a team in comparison to before. I think that our comps kind of limited our team play, and we've been like leaning into comps that allow us to be uh, better teammates with our new changes. So I think that's something we're looking forward to showing on stage.
Do you feel the biggest obstacle that will be facing that this team will be facing at the start of stage two will be just mental, or do you feel it's going to be somewhere within the server? You know, where do you kind of what do you kind of look at as your biggest obstacle for this team in this stage?
I would say our biggest obstacle is just going to be like translating practice to the stage. I don't think there's much else to it. I think if we're able to play at like 80% of the level we do in practice, I think we'll have good results on the stage.
And that said, which opponent do you feel is going to present the biggest challenge for you guys? Be it within your schedule or maybe outside of that in playoffs, should you guys make it there?
Um, I don't know. Energy, I guess they have FNS. I have no clue though. I feel like most teams in our group are good, so I'd say I'm most looking forward to playing Energy because I've always liked FNS.
And I mean, FNS. I mean, what are your thoughts on him returning? Just out of curiosity.
Um, It'll be interesting to see how he fares initially. I think like over the season, if they make playoffs, I think they're gonna have really good results. But I think that he was out of pro play for not that long. I guess it was only like 6 months. But I mean, I think he'll be fine. He's been around forever, like 15 years in FPS games. So I don't think it'll be too much of a worry. I think they'll have good results.
Well, for sure, we'll definitely be looking forward to that match and everything else of that juncture for C9 and yourself, Vanity. That said, I'm going to wrap up the interview right here. Thank you so much for taking the time, just giving me these quick answers for this conversation. And that said, best of luck goes to the team, but most importantly for yourself.